What's up, everybody? Welcome to Bios3 Raw TV. I was gonna fix this fucking camera angle first, make that shit square. I was gonna make this video last week, and I'd asked my mom to send me some facts to make sure I get my facts straight about my grandfather. And it was pretty amazing what was going on in his life at the time. And this is a little story time for you guys. Story time is gonna span probably, I don't know, 94 years. So on Saturday morning, I was having breakfast with Jay Cutler and Victor, who's Jay's assistant. And I got a phone call from my mom, and she told me that my grandfather had passed away. Now, literally 3 days before, I got a video that my cousin Beth had taken of my grandfather, and I posted up a picture of it. I was going to put it in a video and edit it all up. My cousin Beth took it with her phone and sent it to me on Facebook. My grandfather doing his cardio on his exercise bike in his living room, 94 years old. Now, most people would be like, fuck, 94 doing cardio. And it wasn't like he was pedaling the fucking bike. You know, he's kind of like looking around, watching TV and talking and stuff. I mean, he was active at 94 years old. And the bitch about it is he had just finished cancer treatments, radiation, not chemo, but radiation. He had a cancerous, I don't know what would be called, tumor, some kind of cancer on his lip right here. That was from, and this is an interesting, very super interesting thing to me, that lets me say, you know what, I think a lot of shit is genetic. From the pipe he used to smoke. He used to smoke with those old-fashioned pipes, and it would sit here in his mouth, and he'd pack the tobacco in it. That was like unfiltered tobacco, and he would smoke that pipe fucking like all day long. That was his thing. What's interesting is, though, unfiltered tobacco, no lung cancer, no lung issues ever whatsoever in 94 years. That's pretty fucking crazy. You would figure that someone who's smoking unfiltered tobacco like that would probably have some kind of lung issues. No lung issues. So he went through the radiation for that, and it actually worked. Like, it shrunk it up. It was pretty much gone. They were going to do a little bit of surgery to take the little piece off. Like, they were looking forward to the future, saying, wow, you know, he did it. And at first I was like, you know, Gramps 94, you know, radiation, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this is the best idea, but he was like, yeah, let's go through with it. Fuck it. During the time of the radiation, of course, he got sick from the radiation, poisoning itself, and he got pneumonia. And he also had MRSA in his hand, I believe it was. So he was in the hospital, quarantined with MRSA, had pneumonia, and I remember, I don't know, forget who I had this discussion with, but at that age, pneumonia is pretty much, you know, like 95% of the time it's deadly when you get pneumonia when you're that old. I'm sitting there going, like, this is not good, and I started to get upset, and next thing you know, I talk to my mom. She says, Gramps is home, he's fucking eating, he feels great, da-da-da-da-da. Then they get the picture, a video of him on the bike, and I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, this guy is like a fucking vampire. Like, he just doesn't die. He's got the constitution of a fucking Clydesdale. Like, he can take radiation and drugs and all this stuff and smoke a pipe and not get lung cancer. And I'm just like, unfucking believable. But radiation tears down your immune system. The pneumonia came back. He spiked a fever on Friday night, I believe it was. When you have any kind of patient that's dealing with anything from cancer, whether it's radiation or chemotherapy, you don't, especially that age, you don't fuck around. You bring them right to the emergency room, and he kind of, not passed out, but he went unconscious, and he never regained consciousness. He had a pacemaker, which kept his heart going. So essentially, like, he probably would have died earlier, but the pacemaker kept his heart going, and his lungs weren't functioning properly because pneumonia had come back and filled up his lungs. His immune system just couldn't fight it because of the radiation. Not because of his age, not because of his diet. Okay, here's a guy that ate fucking bacon and sausage and all this fucking shit and was doing cardio on a fucking exercise bike after pneumonia and fucking MRSA and radiation at 94 fucking years old. So people talking about how this causes this causes that, he was 94. Okay, my grandmother, his wife, died 18 fucking years ago. 18 years he lived without her. He had a girlfriend, okay? The girlfriend passed away from old age. Most of his friends, if not all of his friends, are gone. He's had about 20 dogs in his entire life, and the last one just passed away a few months ago. Duke, I believe his name was. I mean, he has outlived fucking everybody and everything around him. There's nothing more. I don't think he wanted to live a whole lot longer than he was. I mean, he loved the grandchildren, he loved the kids, and seeing all that stuff, but it got to the point where, how fucking depressing is that everybody that you've fucking known is gone. Your wife's been gone for fucking 18 years, and you find another woman, you're like, wow, I can still have a companion, and fucking then she dies. I mean, I don't know. You know, he was a tough son of a bitch, but I don't know what was running through his mind, at that point. But it wasn't fucking diet. And the guy drank booze. Like, he drank brandy and beer. It would fucking no liver problems whatsoever. Fucking none. Nothing wrong with his fucking liver. He would drink Portuguese moonshine, which is shit that they make, I don't know, in the fucking woods somewhere. It has to be poured in a fucking coffee cup, because if you put it in a fucking plastic cup, it eats through the fucking cup. He would drink that shit. I mean, his whole fucking life he did this. He smoked a fucking pipe. It's amazing the shit that he did that doctors say will kill you. And he lived to 94, which he outlived fucking like 99% of the fucking people that are living the fucking clean lifestyles, which is fucked up. But and anybody that, saw the video, they go, oh, you look like your grandfather. He kind of looked like. You guys have the same bone structure. I do have a small bone structure like my grandfather did. His work ethic was bar none. Bar none. He was a heavy machine operator for the state for years and years and years. He was on the fire department with the Rough and Ready, they call it, Rough and Ready Fire Department. I forget what engine he was on. He was the master of ceremonies for the clam boil every year, for that thing. He was the treasurer of the American Portuguese Club in Warren. He was a farmer when he retired from the heavy machine operation, like fucking out there in the fucking field, digging with his hands, planting shit. I remember he'd come home fucking just covered in fucking dirt because he was out there fucking digging, planting fucking corn and tomatoes and fucking beans and green beans and all this shit. Tough motherfucker, work ethic fucking like crazy. And the only reason he wasn't working at the end was the fact that he couldn't drive anymore. They took his license away from him because he had gotten into an accident. And his eyesight wasn't the best anymore. And he was like, I didn't hit no goddamn car. And he was really upset about it. But once they took that license away from him to where he couldn't get to work on the farm anymore, that's when we started to see the decline. As long as he was working on that farm and he was active like that, I mean, that's why he took up the bike. He actually fucking put an exercise bike in his living room because he wasn't on the farm digging and working and stuff like he was. He was trying to keep himself strong. He bought the Thigh Master, which when I found it in his house, I was like, Gramps, what the fuck is this? The Thigh Master comes with like a workout. It's like this spring thing. And like you put your hands on it, you can squeeze it together and it works your pecs. You put it in your arm, you squeeze it, it works your bicep. There's like a workout that goes with it. And he's like, I'm trying to stay strong, keep my strength. Like just how he was. And I got to live with him for a little while. I was in a spot where me and my ex-girlfriend, Chrissy, had split. And I mean, money wasn't coming in very well at that point. I was still fucked up. I was on methadone treatment. I was still pretty fucked up, and I lived with him up on the 3rd floor. He had a 3-floor tenement house. And every day I'd come home, and hey, Grandpa's going, he's watching Wheel of Fortune or whatever. And I got to know him a little bit differently as an adult, which, as a kid, he was just show up at the family functions and stuff, and he'd laugh and joke, whatever. But it was different to see him after Grandma had passed away and get to know him a little bit. Still not the most outgoing, like, nice guy. Very hard fucking nosed, very old-fashioned. And, like, 2 weeks ago, my mom was taking care of him with my Uncle Richie. So they would help him with whatever, take him to his appointments and stuff like that. So my mom was at his house, and she called me. Hey, how's it going? I said, hey, what's up? Oh, nothing. Everything's fine up here. Grandpa's doing well, blah, 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 blah. She goes, hang on. Someone wants to talk to you. So I said, okay. So he gets on the phone, and he didn't sound like Gramps. He sounded young. So I said, who's this? And he goes, it's your Uncle Freddie, which I have an Uncle Freddie, but this wasn't Uncle Freddie. Like, he was fucking with me. He was joking. So he said, hey, I know your mom tells me you're doing good out there. He said, you're the only smart one in the family who got out of Rhode Island. He got out of here and did something with themselves. And now you're out there and you're doing well and you're making money and everything's good. He goes, you're very smart. I said, all right. And I was like, what the fuck? Because he didn't talk like this. And he said, yeah, I'm done with my treatments. And I was like, shit. Well, he's done with the treatments. It was just kind of a 5-minute little talk. And I said, all right, Gramps. I said, I'll see you, soon for Christmas. And he's like, all right, take care of yourself. We'll talk to you soon. All right, bye. And, he gives the phone back to my mom and says, Grandpa done with his treatment? She's like, he's done with them for today. Like, he still has to finish them and da-da-da-da. I said, okay, I'll talk to you guys this weekend or whatever. And I call, or she calls once a week, once every 2 weeks, whatever. And we hung up, and I was like, man, that was the weirdest conversation I've had in 39 years with my grandfather. Like, that's his way of his hard-ass line way of telling you that he's proud of what I did. And he never wanted to talk to me on the phone. I call him on his fucking birthday and say, happy birthday. He was like, okay, thanks a lot, bye. And he'd fucking hang up the phone, right? Like, he didn't want to talk on the phone. He was happy when I got there. He would say stuff like, oh, JW stopped and see me. Every time I would go home, I'd stop and see him. Like, even if I was short on time or whatever, I'd make it a point to go see him because He knew I didn't live in town and I get to see him all year, and the rest of my family gets to see him anytime. They live 2 minutes away from him. So it meant a lot more to him that I would take whatever time out of my trip to come see him and hang out with him for a little while. And just last week, he hit a $10,000 fucking scratch ticket. $10,000. Yeah, I don't play scratch tickets. I don't play the lottery. I don't believe in any of that shit. I'm not a good gambler. I fucking suck. And I don't think I would be a good gambler, and I have an addictive personality. So those things mixed together fucking are not good. But he liked the scratch tickets, so he'd buy a certain amount of scratch tickets, scratch them, and they would, he'd win $10, $20, $40. It was twice now. He won $10,000 on a fucking scratch ticket. Like, that's, I sit back and I'm like, I talked to Gramps. He kind of told me he was proud of me. He won a $10,000 scratch ticket. He was on his bike. He was in good spirits. Like, he kind of was just fucking, like, escalating back to fucking being, like, young almost. Like, kind of being, like, a whole new person. And then it just ended, And I guess that's the way it happens sometimes. Like, my mom is a nurse, and she actually works with older people, and a lot of them die. That's kind of part of her job, is to take care of them in the end stages of their life. And, sometimes they get better before they get worse. And I was just so proud, like, when I saw him on that bike, I couldn't wait to say, check out my grandfather, 94 years old, doing fucking fasted AM cardio in front of the fucking TV. What is your excuse for not doing it? Like, I was super excited about that. And now, I'm like, wow, he died a few days later, but he was doing it almost up to his death. It's not like he had months where he was laying in bed. He was fucking doing the bike up until he died. Holy shit. He was eating fucking plenty of food. It was fucking, I'm just sitting there going, holy shit, this is my genetics. I hope all that shit got passed down through my parents and hit me. And I got a feeling some of it did, just by the way that my body reacts, my work ethic. I think a lot of that stuff got handed down. My resiliency towards certain things, well, fucking towards everything pretty much. But, so this video turned out to be a story time, not about, check out my Gramps, I'll see him in Christmas and make a video with him. It turned out to be more of a tribute to his life, because now he's gone. That was my last grandparent, which I don't know how that makes me feel, because I don't know, 39 years old and I always had at least Gramps. So life is about to change for me and my family. Once his house is sold, the Christmas festivities and stuff like that, and 39 years, that was a place that I went to be babysat when I was a kid. Like, we lived downstairs from him, I lived upstairs from him. It's like a very solid foundation of my childhood and who I am. Probably the only thing, that is the only thing, holy fuck, that's the only thing in my life that's ever been 100% stable in 39 years was that house and Gramps. That's it. Like, everything else has changed. I moved a million times. I moved fucking schools. Everything has changed in my life, but that was that one solid foundation. When I went back, I felt at home, and now that changes. I don't know how to feel about that, but no, it's just, video's getting long, so we're gonna end it. So, biostraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostraining.com is a blog, and this is I'm Gonna Miss You, Gramps Bicep, and we're out.